ankle injury. There was popcorn thrown down from the stands. You can see Russell Westbrook very upset, having to be restrained. He wanted to come back out. Thankfully, he did not come back out.
Knicks were up 1 when Derrick Rose went to the bench. They went +9. And
You know, unfortunately, we have seen issues around the NBA with fans crossing the line. Somebody tossed a water bottle, and it nearly hit Kyrie as he was walking to the tunnel. Tyler Johnson noticed it, and the Nets began to point out who it was in that section. There are cameras everywhere, so you're going to see the toss right there. It just misses Kyrie. This is as the Nets were exiting. Kevin Durant was doing the interview with Michael Grady, and security began to converge and look for the guilty party.
So you see those clips, hit that thumbs up button, man. You see those clips, all of these clips have been what's going on in the NBA playoffs. The playoffs have been actually pretty good, but NBA's in a crisis because for the first time in like over 25 years, ratings are at an all-time low. I'll get into that later. But this, and people are, some of the conspiracy soldiers are running around saying that maybe these are, the NBA is putting plants in the audience to try to start up ruckus to push an agenda. I don't put nothing past the NBA, but it just doesn't make any sense, honestly, when they lost so much revenue with nothing coming. They lost so much money last year with no revenue because they couldn't host fans. And some people are like, well, maybe you should bring back the bubble because people don't know how to act. Yeah, but it takes away from the game when there's no fans. The fans deserve to be there. I mean, I'm not even a Knicks fan, but it's been pretty fucking amazing to see the Knicks in the Garden with the fans like that. It feels good. But I think this is what happens when you have a whole year of quarantine and people are in the house and the only source of communication was phones and social media. And what does social media does? Social media has built a wall of protection, and it allows punks and you know, cowards to be disrespectful without any consequences. You can say whatever you want. You don't get beat up. You don't get hit in the mouth. You might get cussed out or you get blocked. And if that's the worst that can happen, hell, this is free for all. So now you got a whole bunch of fans coming to these games, paying their hard-earned money or whatever, because those tickets for that Knicks game was $1,000. It's crazy how the Knicks tickets for Madison Square Garden are like $1,200, and Nets games are way cheaper. The Knicks are still the hottest seat in town, but fans are paying to see these games, and a lot of these people don't know how to act. I mean, you had the guy who spit on somebody at the Knicks game. The Celtic fan, the white boy who felt so entitled, he's looking like, oh my God, what's wrong with, like, his face had white privilege written all over it. Like, how dare you arrest me for doing something wrong? Why, you mad because Kyrie stomped on the logo? Has it ever come to anybody's mind? Players run up and down the court across that same logo every night. But it's offensive when the guy stomped on it, you know? And this kid looked like, how dare you arrest me? And then you had the situation at the Sixers game tonight where Dwight Howard's standing over this kid like, you know you done fucked up, right? And this guy's fighting with security. He's got a floor seat, look like. You know, and he's fighting with security, and they had to stop the game mid-game to take care of this. So, I mean, this is kind of the distraction. NBA PR is panicking because they feel like, well, we could have another Malice on the Palace on our hands one day. I don't see that happening. I just don't think it's that many tough guys or goons in the NBA anymore. Don't get me wrong. You push anybody to the limit. There's some cats like Russell. You know, Westbrook is a pretty tough cookie. But most of these cats, you don't have the goons. Even in that one game alone in Malice in the Palace, you had Jermaine O'Neal, Dog, Steven Jackson, you know, the Thugonomics, you know what I mean? Muslim Thugonomics. What do they call them now? They call them They call him Machine Gun Muslim. Then you had Ben Wallace, Dog, you know, Metal World Peace, Ron Artest before Metal World Peace, Dogs. I mean, these were NBA all goons. You don't really got goons like that, so I don't think you're gonna have another Malice in the Palace. But at this pace, you don't know. But people are losing their minds. This was the first major holiday weekend since the world is open back up. Everyone's half vaccinated and shit. And people don't know how to fucking act at the end of the day. I think it's really nothing more to it. Yeah, it would be interesting if the NBA did have some kind there was some real conspiracy, and they were injecting poison into the, to try to make the black players more sympathetic. Because I mean, don't get me wrong, is it wrong for players to throw popcorn on guys and stuff like that? And, Westbrook, somebody threw something at him too. No, it's wrong. But when they try to push this narrative that these rich black athletes go through the same racism as black poor people in the struggle, I don't buy that. Y'all need to stop that lie. And y'all don't go through the same shit black folks are going through in the struggle. Not economically, not systematically, just no. LeBron having the N-word sprayed on his garage door is not the same struggle that people are dealing with out here in these streets. Russell Westbrook getting popcorn thrown at him is not the same type of struggle. That's a matter of disrespect. That's what that is. You know what I mean? That's not really that, and that's the narrative they try to push, is that, hell, even if you become rich, hell, you still got to go through racism and bigotry, and maybe, but it's not the same type of struggle, and I never bought into that. So if that is what the NBA is pushing, they can miss me with that. But I really just think this is just ridiculous fans who don't know how to act. And like I say, why you show up to one of these big events and you paid your money, why act stupid and get put out? Like I remember years ago, I went to WrestleMania in Atlanta as a bucket list, and I went there, and it's 90-something thousand people there. Everybody's paid, and the first hour, these two white guys got kicked out because they was drunk already, and they got into a fight. And you done spent your hard-earned money to buy a ticket to this event, and now you out the door. Like, that makes no sense to me. You better be on. If I'm paying $1,000 or some of the money that it costs to go to these NBA games, you better be on your best behavior. The money that you paying, I mean, seriously. What they are charging for these tickets, I don't see how you go here and act a fool and get put out, but that's what's happening. And like I said, honestly, some of the sideline antics and some of this stuff is more entertaining than the NBA, apparently, because the ratings are sinking low. And there's a couple reasons for that. The pace of the game is a little faster. A lot of people don't like the lack of defense, all the three-point shooting. I think the glory days of great coaches are over. It might be maybe 3 or 4 really good coaches in the entire league. I think most of these coaches are okay at best, and the players and the team carries them, a la Steve Kerr and a couple of other ones like Brad Stevens. It's a lot that's wrong with basketball right now. People are watching it from different angles, illegally, they're streaming it, whatever. And then with these super teams, when they announce these super teams, you could basically pencil in who's going to go to the finals, which makes the regular season irrelevant. It's like, let's just skip through the regular season. Matter of fact, let's just skip through the Eastern Conference playoffs, because we know nobody's beating the Nets 4 times, period. You're not beating that team 4 times. I don't care if it's the Hawks, the Knicks, whoever. And that's the predictability that the NBA possesses now, which is a big reason why people are like, boredom, Same thing with the West. Now, the West is more interesting this year. The West is wide open, But typically, that's what happens with the super teams. At least my problem with the super teams is it makes the league more predictable. And I like you always have an idea of what teams are going to be the 4 or 5 top teams. But when you could pencil in who's going to the finals, and like those years when the Warriors had KD, it was no point in even watching the NBA those 2-3 years, because you already knew what was going to happen. So they have to now fix what's wrong with them as a sports franchise, as a company, and move on, because LeBron's getting older. They still haven't replaced who's going to replace LeBron as the face of the league. Giannis and these foreign players, they're popular, but a foreign player has never been able to connect culturally to America like that. So you can't use Luka or Giannis. Harden and them are getting up there in age also with LeBron and Steph. So the NBA's panicking right now. But it is what it is, man. But yeah, I don't think there's a conspiracy. I think, honestly, these fans just don't know how to act because they've been out the damn house for the first time in a long time. So let me know what y'all think in the comment section. If you're watching the playoffs, who you're going for, and what you think about these incidents. Holla at me.